Alphabet Man, tearing down the strongholds, exposing the darkness, wrecking the enemy's plans. Endurance till the end. It's time for the Alphabet Man Live.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Wow. You know, I want to jump right into something here, and I can say that, praise Jesus, I'll have my new teeth in about 4 weeks. And I was blessed this morning. I went in for a test at the hospital, and I was blessed to see a used Bible sitting on the table in the waiting room. And so that was a blessing and kind of gave me a little pep in my step this morning. So I'm going to see if I can share with everybody a few things. So bear with me as I'm getting the hang of being able to share. So a Christian teacher, this was last year, a Christian teacher suspended for accidentally calling a trans boy a girl. So the teacher got suspended for calling a girl. And and then another headline was children as young as 4 being given transgender lessons, which encourage them to explore their gender identities. And then a story that I've spoken about a few times has been my daughter came home crying, afraid she'd turn into a boy. Parents' anger after kindergarten lesson has students' transgender reveal occur mid-class. The incident occurred on the second to last day before summer break in June. A teacher at Rockland Academy Gateway in California read 2 books meant to explain transgenderism to children between the ages of 4 and 8. During class, the teacher had a boy student go into the bathroom and come out dressed like a girl, revealing his gender confusion. Parents weren't told that the lesson would be done until after it happened, and the district says the books were age appropriate and fell within their literature selection policy. So the parents were angry after a kindergarten lesson had a student's transgender reveal occur mid-class. And the incident took place last year after a Rockland Academy Gateway teacher gave the lesson on transgenderism because a boy in the class was transitioning to be what they want to call a girl. He's not a girl. He can't be a girl. He will always be a boy. And so during the lesson on this, the teacher, who has not been named, read 2 books, I Am Jazz. We know that book is full of lies because we've had pediatricians actually speak out against that book and say that it's just a bunch of lies and myths and misconceptions, especially about transgender hormonal therapy. And then the Red Crayon. Both are meant to explain transgenderism to children between the ages of 4 and 8. So the mother of this little girl, we're going to call her Susan. She will actually be coming on the show tomorrow to explain what happened and what she's doing since it happened. So, and she's going to give us the rundown of what she's involved in and what the parents are doing there, what they're pushing back. And they're saying, not in my child's school. And so that's what we need to start to learn how to do. That's what we need to start to embrace is ways to counter this movement. And of course, when I call it a movement, It is very much that, a movement. And I'm going to go back to where I left off on Friday, the overhauling of Straight America. The overhauling of Straight America is an agenda. It was laid out just to desensitize the nation to homosexuality, which has been done. So number 3 was give protectors a just cause. And I believe we covered number 3. Number 4 was make homosexuals, or make gays. Again, I'm using the word gay in their context while I'm reading this document, because I don't want anyone to have the misconception that I am putting my own words or thoughts into this. This is their words. This is their agenda. In order to make a gay victim sympathetic to straights, you have to portray him as every man. But an additional theme of the campaign should be more aggressive and upbeat. To offset the increasingly bad press that these times have brought to homosexuals, the campaign should paint gays as superior pillars of society. Yes, yes, we know this trick is so old it creaks. Number 5, make the victimizers look bad. At a later stage of the media campaign for gay rights, long after other gay ads have become commonplace, it will be time to get tough with remaining opponents. To be blunt, they must be vilified. This will be all the more necessary because by that time, the entrenched enemy will have quadrupled its output of vitriol and disinformation. Our goal here is twofold. First, we seek to replace the mainstream's self-righteous pride about homophobia with shame and guilt. Second, we intend to make the anti-gays look so nasty that average Americans will want to disassociate themselves from such types. Folks, I want you to think right now about what you see. See, I've always believed that the Westboro Baptist Church, you know, that the one that calls themselves the church, the one that's out there with the signs that say God hates fags, and if your child died in the military, then he's going to hell, and they just stir up a lot of hatred and riffraff and garbage. It's all garbage. And so I always believe that the Westboro Baptist Church was and is an LGBT plant. That I believe that it is a plant of this movement to do just what that agenda says they will do. And so let's go back to their agenda. And what does it say? Make the anti-gays look so nasty that average Americans will want to disassociate themselves from such types. So if they go out there and they make Christians look so nasty, many people will split and say that they're Christian, but they're not a part of those Christians. And so that's what we see has actually happened in the last 30, 40 years. The public should be shown images of ranting homophobes whose secondary traits and beliefs disgust middle America. Wasn't that what they've done by creating Westboro Baptist Church and portraying themselves as Christian, and then going out and doing just what they said they would do? They intended to make the anti-gays look so nasty. And the public has been shown images of ranting homophobes. See, these images might include the KKK demanding that gays be burned alive or castrated, bigoted Southern ministers drooling with hysterical hatred to a degree that looks both comical and deranged. That is what they accomplished by creating the Westboro Baptist Church. Folks, don't you believe for 1 second that the Westboro Baptist Church is a group of Christians. It's a group from the LGBT movement that has infiltrated and created to call themselves Christians to do just what they said they would do in their agenda. And then they say, how about menacing punks, thugs, and convicts speaking coolly about the fags they have killed or would like to kill? A tour of Nazi concentration camps where homosexuals were tortured and gassed. A campaign to vilify the victimizers is going to enrage our most fervent enemies, of course. Of course. But what else can we say? The shoe fits, and we should make them try it on for size with all of America watching. I know for a fact that is the goal. That's always been the goal. Of course, that's just one of the goals. The main goal being what? To target, prey on, and devour your children and your grandchildren. Because that's what's happening. I mean, that's what's going on in this movement. And I want to read to you a post that I put up on my Facebook this morning. If I can find it. If we believe that the LGBT movement is the men and women we see parading around with rainbow feather boas on and half naked and screaming and hollering, and that's not the LGBT movement. If we think it's the men, bearded men with makeup on and dresses reading stories to the children in the library, that's not the LGBT movement. If we think it's Bob and Bill down the street living their quiet homosexual life together, oh, poor them, everybody picks on them and hates on them, and they don't do anything. That's not the LGBT movement. Those are all victims of the LGBT movement. And being victims of the LGBT movement, of course, they work for the LGBT movement. So the LGBT movement is a dark political mass. And as we've seen over the years, from 1972 on, they have actually started absorbing other movements, making their dark mass even larger. In the early 70s and the late 60s, they started absorbing the civil rights movement, the minority movement, and then in the 70s and 80s, the abortion movement, the feminist movement. So they started incorporating all these different movements into their movement, making their movement even larger and darker. And all along, paving the road was paving the road for the pedophilia movement, paving the road for NAMBLA, North Atlantic Man-Boy Love Association, now known as MAPS, Minor Attracted Persons. Folks, this is so real, and it's so prominent in our society right now. Children are being sexualized. See, I remember a time when girls couldn't wear makeup until they hit a certain age. But now little boys, 9 years old, can wear makeup. And they can wear the sequins and the glitz and the glamour and the glitter and the high heels that were meant for older women. And a lot of the clothes and makeup was actually meant for streetwalkers and prostitutes. Maybe that's why they're trying to legalize prostitution. See, all these little aspects going on in our society. They're trying to legalize prostitution in many states. They're trying to drop the age of consent to 12 in many states. They're sexualizing children all over the world. They've allowed children to choose their gender above children's rights above the parents' rights. If your little boy says he's a little girl, you can't disagree. And if you do, then the state will step in and remove your little boy, place your little boy in an LGBT-friendly foster home, place him right in the hands of predators, and then you won't have any say anyway. So now your child can also choose their gender. So if your child can choose their gender, why can't your child choose their sex partner? Oh, wait a minute, they can. Because there's one transgender little boy who dresses up like a girl, who last year started an online transgender child's dating service. Go anywhere. Anywhere. Today, go anywhere. Drive anywhere where children gather. And there's a rainbow there. Anywhere. From the school to the library, to the pediatrician's offices, to health and human services, to foster care services, to the gymnastics, the gymnasiums. Anywhere children gather, go there. And there is an LGBT rainbow there. And then when you're done doing that, go down to the nursing home. You won't see any rainbows there. They don't want your old folks. They want your children and your grandchildren. Drag Queen Story Hour actually says on their website their target audience is 3 to 8 year olds because they're most impressionable. They want to impress upon your children and your grandchildren. And that's okay with most of you. I guess as a victim, it's not okay with me because I know what's in store for them. Even as a victimizer, I know what's in store for them. You know, I praise God several times a day, every day, for yanking me out of the misery and depression of the cesspools of this world. I don't question him. Why does he allow this? And why did he do that? And why didn't he stop that? I don't question him. Because his ways and his thoughts are way above my ways and thoughts could ever be. Even when I'm made perfect, my thoughts and ways will still not be as high as his thoughts and ways, because he will still be God Almighty. And I was going to read what I posted this morning. However, it is actually a very long read. And so I just say, if you can go onto the Alphabet Man Live Facebook page and look at this morning's post, it actually outlines the homosexual manifesto. And we're going to be talking about that too, probably by next week, because I want to dive into to number 6 on the list. Solicit funds. The buck stops here. Any massive campaign of this kind would require unprecedented expenditures for months or even years, an unprecedented fundraising drive. 7, getting on the air, or you can't get there from here. Without access to TV, radio, and mainstream press, there will be no campaign. It's a tricky problem this is a tricky problem became many impresarios of the media because many impresarios of the media simply refuse to accept what they call issue advertising. Excuse me. Persuasive advertising can provoke a storm of resentment from the public and from sponsors, which is bad for business. The courts have confirmed the broadcaster's rights to refuse any issue advertising he dislikes. Because most straightforward appeals are impossible, the National Gay Task Force, the gay mafia, the homosexual mafia, has had to cultivate quiet backroom liaisons with broadcast companies and newsrooms in order to make sure that issues important to the gay community receive some coverage. But such an arrangement is hardly ideal, of course, because it means that gay community's image is controlled by the latest news event instead of by careful design. And recently, most of the news about gays has been negative. Now remember, this was back in the early 80s. Visual stage 1, you really ought to be in pictures. As for TV and radio, a more elaborate plan may be needed to break the ice. For openers, naturally, we must continue to encourage the appearance of favorable gay characters in films and TV shows. Daytime talk shows also remain a useful avenue for exposure. But to speed things up, we might consider a bold stratagem to gain media attention. The scheme we have in mind would require careful preparations, yet it would save expense, even while it elevated the visibility and stature of the gay movement overnight. Through such a political campaign, the mainstream would get over the initial shock of seeing gay ads, which we have, and the acceptability of such ads would be fortified by the most creditable context possible, and all this would be accomplished before non-electoral advertising was attempted by the gay community. During the campaign, all hell would break loose. But if we behave courageously and respectable, our drive would gain legitimacy in case, and might even become a cause to celebrate. If all went as planned, the somewhat desensitized public and the major networks themselves wouldn't be ready for the next step of our program. Visual stage 2, peekaboo advertising. At this point, the gay community has its foot in the door. And remember, this is in the 80s. They don't have a foot in the door anymore. They own and run it all. And it is time to ask the networks to accept gay sponsorship of certain ads and shows. Timing is critical. The request must be made immediately after our national political ads disappear. Failing that, we should request sponsorship the next time one of the networks struts its broad-mindedness by televising a film or show with gay characters or themes. If they wish to look consistent instead of hypocritical, we'll have them on the spot. If they wish to look consistent instead of hypocritical, we'll have them on the spot. but the networks would still be forced to say no unless we made their resistance look patently unreasonable and possibly illegal. And we do just that by proposing gay ads patterned exactly after those currently sponsored by the Mormons and others. As usual, viewers would be treated to squeak clean skits on the importance of family harmony and understanding. This time, the narrator would end by saying, "This message was brought to you by the National Gay Task Force." All very quiet and subdued. Remember, exposure is everything, and the medium is the message. Visual stage 3, roll out the big guns. By this point, our salami tactics will have carved out, slice by slice, a large portion of access to the mainstream media. So what then? It would finally be time to bring gay ads out of the closet. The time is now. We have sketched out here a blueprint for transforming the social values of straight America. At the core of our program is a media campaign to change the way the average citizens view homosexuality. And let us repeat, time may be running out. The AIDS epidemic is sparking anger and fear in the heartland of straight America. Isn't that something, how the LGBT movement takes full responsibility by saying, we got to hurry up and do this because the AIDS epidemic is sparking anger and fear. So as the virus leaks out of the homosexual circles and into the rest of society, we need have no illusions about who is receiving the blame. The 10 years ahead may decide for the next 40 whether gays claim their liberty and equality or are driven back once again as America's cast of detested untouchables. It's more than a quip. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Speak now or forever hold your peace. And that would be my message to everybody. Speak now. Go to the school board meetings now. Go to the parent-teacher meetings now. Go to the libraries and say, no, you're not going to have drag queens come in and read to these children. Transgenderism is a religion. So you cannot have a religious event in a federally funded building. So no, you can't have drag queen story hour, not in this library. If they want to do it, let them host it in their own buildings. Let them host it. See, let them not be so ready to be a mockery to us. And so I want to talk about our events coming up as well before I run out of time. Occupy 2019, April 12th through the 14th in Canton, Ohio. Courtyard Marriott is the hotel. If you call to make your reservation, let them know that you are with the Occupy 2019 conference, because if not, then they will tell you the hotel is sold out. Excuse me. Also, since March 26th, the room rates have went up, and I think the ticket rates are also going to go up. And so anyone who is seeking the truth and who desire to meet other like-minded people, this conference is for you. This is a hand-on equipping conference. The list of speakers: Coach, myself, Russ, Tom, Pastor Mike Spalding, Chad, Mark Harrington, Mark Trump. Cost is $49 before March 26th, so I don't know what they are now. I think $69. $69 starting March 27th. Yep. So they're $69 now. Still much better than last year. Also, the end of this month is our 3-day outreach ministry, Atlantic City, New Jersey, April 26th, 27th, and 28th. I will be having more details on this as well posted on the website. If you're not familiar with the 3-day ministry, then go to ibelongamen.com, click on events, and check it out there. Also, July, just to put a note in your calendar, go there for Conference 2019, July 26th and 27th, right here in Lima, Ohio. And if you can make it to any of them, do so. Also, I just want to say thanks, everybody, and thank you for watching. Thanks for joining, and I love you all. Peace.